What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to show you how to rust a model car body. Now there's tons of videos out there. This is my version. This is how I do it. And well, first off, we're going to go ahead and get straight into it. And right now we're going to go ahead and prime the body. Now you can use any kind of primer you desire. You can use gray primer, you can use black primer, or whatever. In this case we are actually using brown primer to save us a step. If you don't use brown primer, then you are going to have to go to the extra step and go ahead and use brown paint. And the reason why you want brown for the base, for the primer, or the color that you have to put on top of your gray primer, is the brown is going to be our color for the rust. This is what's going to show our rust, and this is going to be basically the rust color. So that's why we're using brown primer to save us some time. But again, like I said, you don't have brown primer, go ahead and use gray, and make sure you use brown paint, and make sure kind of paint what you're going to use for your rust base coat. Let your primer dry for about 2 hours. You can wait longer, you can whatever you want to do, wait overnight. But right now we're gonna go ahead and bring out some pigments from MIG. This is ammo from MIG pigments. This is truck rust, I believe. Yes, truck rust and light rust. And what we're doing is we're putting on the pigment on top of our brown primer. This gives it the actual like rust look, and it has that texture to it, and it looks more realistic than the actual primer. Like I said, the primer is just a color, it's just the brown primer, and you know, it doesn't look like rust right now, but that's what the pigment is going to help. So you can use any kind of pigment you want. If you want your rust to be lighter, then go ahead and use light rust. If you want to use like medium rust, they have medium pigment rust. Like I said, I'm using truck rust. I want this rust to be pretty dark. That's what truck rust is. I did go ahead and use some, I believe it is medium or light primer, or I'm sorry, pigments, and you know, has some light rust tones here and there. But just apply this onto the whole body as you desire, and then don't worry, you do want to put on a matte clear after you are doing this, because again it is a pigment. It will smear off when you do put on the our next method, which we are going to have to deal with some water. So make sure you do put on a matte clear over this pigment, because it will smear off, so it will protect it as well. And we'll show you why that is here in the next step. And there we have it. As you see, it looks pretty good. We got some dark rust, we got some light, and all that good stuff here and there, and it looks pretty good. It's starting to look like rust right now. So right now what you want to do is go ahead and shoot on some matte clear. As you see right here, we use matte clear from Mr. Hobby. This works amazing. Put on at least 1 or 2 coats, let it dry for about 2 hours, and you're good to go. Alrighty, so about 1 or 2 hours later, I let it dry for about 2 hours, and the matte clear is all dried up, and it is ready for our next method. Now, what we're doing is we're putting on some water, and this is why you want to put the matte clear on, because it will protect the pigment as well. We are doing with water, and we are using salt. This is our salt method. I am actually using what is this? This is rock salt. This is salt that you put in like a salt shredder. and all that good stuff, because if you use regular salt that's already shredded, that is very thin and it's not easy to come off as well. So I'm using rock salt because rock salt is thicker, is bigger, and it's much easier to peel off when you're done painting it, because paint, it does make it stick even more. If you are using the smaller salt, it's gonna be really hard time to get that off. So that's why you want to use the bigger salt, because it is much easier to peel off, and it basically covers much more as well. So go ahead and put it onto the body. Make sure you use plenty of water. Put the water where you want the rust. If you want more rust here, say on the fender more, go ahead and put more water there, so you can put as much salt there as possible. For me, I'm not being too picky. I'm just spreading it wherever I want it to be. If I want a little bit more, I'm going to put more water, as you see, like my certain steps here and there. If I want more water here on the hood or roof or whatever, I'm going to put more water there. So whatever you want to do, if you want more salt or more rust here and there, make sure you put more water there and put as much salt there as possible. More salt it is in one area, more rust is going to show. So just have at it. Be fun. Don't be too picky. Like, I'm not being picky. If I want more rust here and there on the the B pillar, I'm putting more water there. So just have fun, and this is actually a really fun part. So just have at it. Don't be too picky. Like I said, this is a rust paint job. Most rusts aren't really perfect. So, but like I said, if you want it more in specific spots, make sure you do put more rust, or I'm sorry, but more salt in one area.
You stole my heart of gold after my silver soul. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I owe.
Okay, after about 3 hours, the water has dried and the salt is on there permanently. Well, not permanently, but on there good enough. And now is a good base for our color coat. Now choose any color that you want the body color to be. And I chose Lemon Twist. This is actually a factory color for the Dodge Dart back in the day, which is pretty cool. And we're gonna go ahead and plaster on our color. Now don't be too picky. The rust is our masking tape basically for the rust. So where the rust, or the salt is, that is your masking is. So wherever the salt is, that's where your rust is going to show. So don't worry, just paint the body as you normally do. Just don't go heavy, and don't go heavy on your first coat, and go a little bit thicker on your second coat, and third heavy as them all. And after that, we're gonna go let it dry, and then we're gonna review the salt, or review the rust and all that good stuff. So have at it. This is the fun part, and just like I said, just paint the body like normal, like pretend that the salt is not there. Okay, after about 1 to 2 hours of dry time, I let it dry for about an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and now it's time to take the salt off. Right now, I'm using an old toothbrush, or it's actually a new toothbrush. It's just a toothbrush I don't really care for, and we're going to use it to break off all the salt off the body. Now, you can also use your finger, which I did start using actually towards the end of the video, towards this process, because some of the salt was on there pretty good. The toothbrush helps with the smaller ones, and then the bigger ones I just basically use my finger. And don't be shy about this. You can go as rough as possible, because it don't matter if you scratch up the paint, because it's going to add more look to the body. So don't worry if you scratch up the yellow or whatever color you use, because it's going to add more attention, more look to it. So have at it and just get all the salt off as much as possible. If you can't get some off, not too big a deal. It's going to add more look to it, but for me, I managed to get all of it off, which is actually pretty good. So just take your time and make sure you just get it all off, and you're good to go. Alrighty, all the salt is off, and now it's time to do some more pigments. We're going to go ahead and put some more truck rust on the actual rust spots and give it more depth, because some of the matte clear did dull it down a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just brighten up with some of the rust spots. And we're also going to spread out the pigment also onto the yellow, because like the rust, it kind of like fades, or kind of when it gets wet, it kind of droops onto the actual body color. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and it just gives it more look and more in-depth look into the rust as well. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and take it an extra step farther. You can call it right here and go ahead and put on your matte clear and call it, but I'm going to go ahead and add some rust streaks. What this is, it adds some really light rust effect onto the body, and it gives it like a little bit of rust like streak look. So like some of the rust is kind of dripping down on the body and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then we're going to go ahead and do something else after this. We're going to do some grinding after this and give it more depth. So again, this is optional. You don't have to do this, but I'm going to take it a little bit extra step forward, and then yeah, looks pretty cool. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add some MIG or ammo streaking grime for US modern vehicles. Well, this is not modern, it's an old vehicle, but it doesn't matter. What this is, it gives it more like a shadow look, and it kind of gives it like a dusty, like grimy look, like it's been sitting somewhere for a little bit. We're going to mainly add this probably to, more towards the fenders, more towards the lower portion of the vehicle. We're going to add some here and there on the fenders and stuff, on the A pillar, B pillar, all that good stuff, where it might get a little dusty and kind of grimy looking. It just gives it more depth look, and it kind of makes it darker than usual. So as you see, it looks really cool. I'm kind of putting it down on the fender. It gives it just a little bit of shadow look, as you might know, and just gives it kind of like grimy look, like it kind of like sitting under a tree, and it just kind of like tree sap or something's kind of going down it, whatever. But like I said, it gives it more depth and it makes it more realistic. Alright, after I'm happy with the result, we're going to go ahead and shoot it all again with Mr. Hobby Matte Clear to seal it all in, because the griming effects is acrylic paint, so it can scrape off with some water, or even if you touch it, it is going to leave some fingerprints into it, because it does not really dry too often, or it doesn't really dry at all. So you do want to seal it in, and that's where we're going to go ahead and shoot it again with Mr. Hobby Matte Clear. And there we have it. There is our finished product. As you see, it looks really good. Again, you can take the rust a lot more. You can really rust the body or the roof out even more if you want. Like I said, I don't want to do too much rust on this particular body. I just want more like a calm rust, but like I said, you can go crazy with the rust. Put as much salt on it as possible, and more rust you're gonna have shown. But I think it looks good. It looks really good in my taste, and I like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope it helped you. Again, it's a really fun project, and it's just fun, experience with it, and don't be shy, because it's a rusty paint job. If you do scratch with paint, who cares, because you're gonna add more look to it. So here's a little video of it, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and give it a try. It's really fun weathering a vehicle, and not many people do, but I think it's fun. I don't do it too often, but when I do, it looks so cool, and I always like it because it's always cool. But alright guys, hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial video, and until next video, we'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.